Here we go.
Yep.
Good afternoon, folks. My lovely wife, Evelyn, and this train wreck of a face of mine will be speaking for the next few minutes. Basically, we came upon some information just about a month ago, a little bit more than a month ago now, from one of our members in our organization, Civil Heritage Foundation. She knew of somebody who bought a diary of a John Elder, chaplain of the 28th Virginia Regiment under General Garnett. And he was here during the Battle of Gettysburg. It's been missing for about 140 years, hidden away who knows where, and it just became available, and it went for auction. It sold for a measly $10,000. If I only knew, if I only knew, I would have paid twice that for it. It's in really bad shape. The seller of it got the diary and made a copy of it. It's in really poor shape, and put it on a DVD. And his friends of ours sent it to us on a zip thing from the computer. He's a computer whiz, I'm not. I just put stuff into it. And we downloaded it, and it's almost unreadable. And we've spent pretty much every night since that time trying to translate it from the chicken scratch that it is. And it's been waterlogged, mold has grown over it, pages have been crinkled up and kind of worn out and things like that. But we're doing it. We got about half the thing done, and we actually put it into a format that we can actually read. And it goes from December 16th of June 16th of 1863 to December of 1863, and encompasses the July battle. This man, John Elder, the chaplain, stayed behind and gave comfort to the soldiers who were wounded here on the battlefield and in some of the houses, farms, and taverns in the area, and became a prisoner after that. He survived the war and passed this on to some of his family, who tucked it away into a trunk and totally forgot about it for 140 some odd years, and it finally resurfaced. And a lot of it has to do with Jimmy Kemper and some of the people that were here at the time. So there was so much of it, we can't give you all of it. We'd be here for days doing it. We've actually outlined some specific passages that I'm going to read that have to do with some of the generals and colonels and the men who fought here in the South, and some of the soldiers from the North that befriended them and helped them through this horrible time. My wife and I will kind of read it back and forth. I'll start. He starts his diary that we have to deal with on the 3rd of July, 1863. And he writes, during this cannonading, Lieutenant Colonel Ellis, 19th Virginia, is mortally wounded in the head. Infantry advance over the field, all the time exposed to terrible fire from the front and the flanks. General Garnett and General Kemper in front, Armistead supporting. Our thin ranks at last reach the works, mount the works, and drive the gunners away from their guns, but the little band is too weak to hold the position, unsupported against heavy odds, and has to retire under the same fire under which they approached. It continues, all the men are sent off to division hospitals at Bream's Mill. Now, in Bream's Farm, you can actually go to Bream's Farm out here, not too far from where Confederate Avenue is. And if the people who own the house now feel charitable and you kind of talk to them nicely, they'll take you into the living room and they will roll back the Persian rug. And on the floor, the planks, the original planks, you'll see the outline of a big bloody mess out there that they preserved. General Kemper's blood. Yeah, so it's something to see. They write, let's see, the men were sent off to division hospitals at Bream's Mill. Now, Bream's owned everything. They were like the Sheets of the day back then. So, yeah, if they were, they had gas stations down there, they would have own gas stations. But I go there also and attend to the wounded, taking with me the body of Major Wilson to bury it beside those I had already seen. I find at the hospital General Kemper, mortally wounded, as is supposed, Colonel Garrett, shot in the arm and face, badly mutilated, but not mortally wounded. With him is Acting Adjutant McIntyre, also Colonel Stewart, and many others of lower rank. My special friend, Mr. John F. Currens, at whose house I am headquartered, is very polite and possesses peaceful sentiments. July 4th.
On July 4th, Saturday, at Bream's Mill, Lieutenant Colonel Ellis has been insensible for nearly 24 hours and dies this morning and is buried by his own brother-in-law, Lieutenant Garland, under an apple tree in Kern's orchard. No coffins he can procure, and he's buried only in his overcoat and blanket wrapped around him. Reverend Perkins, who is here, reads the burial service. I make strenuous efforts to procure a coffin or box or some sort for Major Wilson, but cannot succeed. And, as is hardly expected, that our army will move off and the enemy advance, no longer delay is admissible. The spot I collect for his grave is beneath a large walnut tree, which stands on the slope of the hill exactly fronting Kern's home. We cannot wait, so we lay him in the cold and narrow house wrapped in his blanket and his sword beside him, and amidst the storms and pelting rain, I pronounce over his remains the solemn words of our burial service, and close the grave above him, and depart retires. Such is the earthly career of a soldier. Sergeant Jones, from the 19th Virginia, dies from a wound in the bow. I have attempted to converse with him, but it is too late. There is no fighting today except distant picket firing, yet we are in continual fear that the house will become a scene of conflict. None of the 28th die. We leave our friends who have been lingering around the hospital. Dr. Ravens of the 28th Virginia is left in charge of the division hospital, and with him are many of Kemper's brigade, and some from Armistead, and Harrison of Garnet, and myself as chaplain.